Making these mistakes could be costing you hundreds, if not thousands of dollars on your Princess Cruise. Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a Princess Cruises certified expert, and I love to give tips and tricks on how to save money and have the best cruise experience. One of the ways that we save thousands of dollars on our cruises is by booking early. We tend to book like 2 years in advance, and if you're making the mistake of trying to book last minute and trying to do like, 6 months in advance, you are spending way more money than you need to be. I understand sometimes like work schedules and stuff that you can't always book 2 years in advance like we're lucky enough to, but don't wait until the last minute. Don't plan on getting last minute deals because the cruise industry is not set up for that. They always want you to book earlier and give you the better perks earlier. Waiting until the last minute means that you basically get the leftover rooms, which tend to be more expensive. Common mistake I see is that people, when they get on their cruise ship, they do not turn on airplane mode. This means that they are being charged like the cellular at sea roaming charges. These are huge. You want to make sure that you turn on airplane mode and then manually turn on your Wi-Fi. Even if you don't have an internet package, you're going to want to do this to access the Princess Cruises app. So that way you're not connecting to any data or any cell service or anything like that, because you will come home to a really high bill. A mistake that I see people make that they think they're going to save money by doing this, but it doesn't work out that way, is flying in the day of their cruise. Don't do that. You need to fly in at least the day before. Yes, you're going to be paying extra for your hotel and whatnot, but if you miss your ship, it's going to cost you a lot more money if you miss your ship than if you flew in the day before. We recommend flying in one day before for anything that's more domestic. So if you're in, like we're in Canada, so anything that's in Canada or the US, if you're flying internationally, like we are for an upcoming cruise, we are flying in actually 3 days ahead of time. It is well worth it. You can also play around with dates a little bit and see if you can fly in on a cheaper date. This is what happened on our upcoming Mediterranean cruise. For us to fly in, we are saving so much money, even with hotel night stays. And then we just get the benefit of starting our vacation early. But we know that by flying in the day of, you risk missing your ship, and that will cost you so much money. Not booking your excursions in advance can also cost you a lot of money. Princesses will often have like excursion sales going on, and by booking early enough, you can take advantage of those sales. Also, some of those cheaper excursions or like more popular excursions sell out fast, and then you won't have that as an option at all, or you're stuck booking like on the cruise, which I see way too many people doing, booking excursions while on the cruise, and then you're paying more for that. Don't. Plan your excursions ahead of time, book them in advance, make sure that you know what your options are for excursions, whether you want to book that through the cruise line or if you want to book it through Lakeshore Excursions Group. You want to be able to plan those excursions ahead of time and get the better prices for it. Here's a mistake that we have made recently, and that is not knowing the ports ahead of time. For instance, Tromsø, went to last year, we didn't realize how far we were going to be docking from the city. In order to get into the city, you had to take a shuttle. Mind you, the cruise line we were with provided a shuttle for a cost. Taxi costs is another thing that I see people all the time. They don't anticipate the cost of getting to wherever they're going. Make sure that you plan in advance. This is where we're going to be docking. This is where I want to be going. And if you're not doing an excursion, how much is that going to cost you to get from point A to point B? There's a lot of information online about taxi costs. And you can also do like some quick ride share, like just playing around with stuff to see approximate costs. And like even our upcoming cruise, by researching ahead of time, we know that one of our ports, we are going to have to take a shuttle just to get to the downtown area. Princess charges for that shuttle. We know now, so we aren't going to be panicking, being like, oh my gosh, I did not plan ahead for this extra cost. I will say that in Norway, we kind of made this mistake more often than we usually make it, because we just didn't plan our ports like at all. So even getting there, we were like, oh, we should have probably done that hop on and off bus. But now it's so much more money, or we didn't plan to have that type of money, spend that type of money. So I don't know why we didn't plan like we have for other cruises, but Mediterranean, we are definitely not making that mistake. Another mistake that we've actually made is not knowing what's included. This is especially important with gratuities, where we have tipped on top of tips on top of tips. So for instance, we don't have the Plus or Premier package, which I'll talk about in a little bit, but we just go with the standard package. So we would get a drink, and this was more in the olden days before the medallion happened, where you actually like got your receipt and signed a receipt. Now it's just all medallion. But anyway, and then we would go and we would then get charged an 18% tip automatically, but then we would tip on top of that tip. And so like the triple tipping that's happening, because you're also paying your gratuities in your daily gratuity rate. So like just paying so much extra money because we're not paying attention to what's included in the stuff that we're purchasing. So if you're doing like specialty dining, often there's an 18% gratuity charge added onto your bill for that already. So pay attention to what's included, and then you're not overspending. Don't make the mistake of not checking your statement daily. Every day on the app or in person at guest services, there's like a kiosk that you can print off your statement. You want to make sure that everything is accurate. Some ships we've had more problems than others where we've been charged for things, especially like I said, we don't do any of the packages. So if someone else orders a drink and it gets charged to us, we actually get charged for it. So there's been times where I'm like, I don't drink wine and I was not in the dining room. Why did I get charged for that? Princess is really good at making sure that those mistakes are cleared up, but you want to make sure that you're checking daily so you're not on the last day of your cruise and you're like, oh my gosh, there's 3 mistakes that I need fixed, and you're going and waiting in that really long line that happens on disembarkation. If you're finding this video helpful, be sure to subscribe for more Princess Cruises tips, tricks, and advice. Before getting on your ship, you want to make sure you have a packing list. We have made this mistake where we haven't had a packing list. Usually we're pretty good. I will admit that usually we're pretty good, but there have been occasions where we haven't. My dad forgot his allergy medication or thought he didn't need it, and then he needed to go and buy some. My brother forgot his belt, and he can't wear pants without a belt, so he had to go buy a belt. We forgot stuff like sunscreen. You want sunscreen for Alaska, people. Don't think you don't need sunscreen. You do. Just simple things like that. Even I forgot charging cables on our 2-week cruise on the Sky Princess. And like those mistakes have cost us money because we're buying these things to replace things that we could have just brought. Another mistake that will cost you money is not having the right amount of cash in the right currency. You don't want to be going to like the Princess ATM at like the casino to take out cash, because you're going to get charged so many fees. You're going to get charged by Princess fees. You're going to get charged by your bank fees. If you're Canadian like us, you're going to get charged like currency charges, exchange fees on a bunch of different ways. Don't do that. Plan ahead of time how much you're tipping, how much you're going to approximately be spending. Like we're going to Mediterranean and I've already planned out like what we're doing. So it's like, okay, I know I need 10 euros to get into this building, this museum. So planning ahead of time means I can order. I tend to order a little bit more than I need because then I can always exchange it back. But by doing it through my bank while I'm in Canada, I won't be paying as many fees compared to being like in Europe and trying to take from the ATM. Especially if you're using like a credit card to take out from an ATM, now you're gonna be paying like cash advance fees and stuff like that. Don't waste your money doing that. Plan ahead how much money you're gonna need and go from there, and don't waste your money on ATM and bank fees and all that nonsense. A huge mistake that I see people making is getting the wrong package. Either they're doing the standard package and they could have saved so much money by getting the plus or the premier package because it's like, oh, they actually would like having drinks included, or they do need internet and they just only have the standard, so they're paying a la carte for everything. Or they have a package that's too high for them. I often see people just doing with the premier package because they're like, I just want everything included, or I just want like the best of the best. And it's like, but unless you're using specialty dining, you're not saving money. Unless you're using the photos, you're not saving money. So don't overbuy your package or underbuy your package. You want to make sure that you have the package that is right for you, so you're not spending so much extra money on things you don't need or not having enough coverage for the things you do actually need. And be sure not to make these mistakes, especially if it's your first Princess cruise.